Let's move to WhatsApp. That one sentence has preceded more financial losses than most people realize. Not because of the app, because of what that request usually means. It arrives in the middle of what feels like a normal conversation. A job opportunity, an investment discussion, customer support, an online marketplace transaction. The conversation has been going well. Then that message appears. Most people comply without a second thought. After all, messaging apps are part of everyday life. But in fraud investigations, that single request often marks a precise turning point. Because it is frequently the moment the interaction leaves a monitored environment and enters one designed to work in the fraudster's favor. The request sounds harmless. The problem is not the platform itself. The problem is understanding why someone needs to leave the original one. Most established online platforms maintain active fraud detection systems. Messages can be reviewed for suspicious patterns. Accounts can be reported. Automated systems can flag known behaviors. Evidence is preserved by default. The moment a conversation moves to a private messaging app, many of those systems no longer apply. The platform shift is not casual, it is strategic, because the environment changes in the fraudster's favor. Think of many scams as a three-stage sequence. First, public, a dating app, a social network, a job board, a marketplace, somewhere with rules, reporting tools, and third-party visibility. Then, private, a messaging application, direct communication, fewer observers. Finally, isolated. The target begins receiving information exclusively from the fraudster. Independent verification decreases. Outside perspectives become less relevant. The goal is not simply communication. The goal is control over what the target hears, sees, and ultimately believes. Moving platforms is not a convenience. It is step one. Many messaging applications offer strong privacy protections. Those protections are valuable, and they serve legitimate purposes. The fraudsters benefit from the same protections. When fraud occurs on the platform with active moderation, suspicious behavior may trigger alerts. Reports generate reviews. Known patterns activate restrictions. Moving to a platform, a private messaging app, reduces that exposure significantly. The technology is not the issue. The question is motivation. Why does someone you have just met need the conversation moved immediately? Why can't the information they want to share remain where the interaction begins? Those questions deserve direct answers. There is a second reason fraudsters prefer private messaging. It changes how the target feels. Private conversations creates a sense of exclusivity, a sense that the relationship is becoming more personal, more confidential, more significant. The shift happens gradually and without announcement. People become less likely to question information that arrives from someone they now perceive as a trusted private contact, rather than a stranger on a platform. The relationship begins to feel different. And that change in feeling is exactly what fraudsters are manufacturing. After the move, the communication pattern changes. Messages become more frequent, availability increases. Conversations grow more personal. The objective at this stage is familiarity, comfort, trust, and then the next stage arrives. Sometimes it is an opportunity, an investment, a business proposal, an offer available to a select few. Sometimes it is a crisis, an emergency, an urgent problem that requires immediate help. The details vary by scam type. The structure stays remarkably consistent. When a path leads to opportunity, the sequence is predictable. Something appears to be beneficial, a return on investment, a business arrangement, an exclusive offer. Notice the timing. The proposal does not appear immediately. It appears after multiple conversations, after trust has been established, after the relationship feels real. This is not coincidence. It is design. The financial request is not the beginning of the scam. It is the result of everything that came before it, including the moment the conversation left the original platform. When the path leads to crisis, the tool is urgency. A problem appears, an account issue, a legal complication, an emergency that needs to be resolved immediately. Urgency is chosen deliberately because urgency compresses the time available for verification. The more pressure someone feels, the less likely they are to pause, investigate, or consult someone outside the conversation. At this point, visibility has been reduced significantly. The original platform is no longer involved. Support teams have no record of the interaction. Fraud detection systems are not observing the exchange. The target is now dependent on what a single source claims is true. That dependency is the architecture of the scam. So, what do you say? The first response is straightforward. I prefer to keep this conversation on this platform for record purposes. No accusation, no confrontation, no explanation required beyond that. A legitimate recruiter, business contact, service representative, or seller should have no difficulty continuing where the conversation already exists. Watch the reaction. Professional people typically accept a reasonable boundary without resistance. When that boundary is met with pressure, with reasons why it absolutely cannot stay here, that reaction itself is a signal worth noting. A second response that works well. Can you provide official verification here before we continue? This shifts the burden appropriately. If someone claims to represent a company, ask for verifiable confirmation. If someone claims to be customer support, ask them to verify through the platform's official channel. If someone claims professional credentials, ask for documentation. Not on another application, right where the conversation is. Legitimate entities generally welcome verification. They operate transparently because transparencies protect them. Resistance to verification, or redirection away from it, is worth paying attention to. A third response is particularly effective for financial discussions. I don't move financial conversations to private messaging apps. This works because it frames the refusal as a personal policy, not a judgment about the other person. Policies remove emotion from the decision. You are not accusing anyone. You are following a rule you apply consistently. A legitimate financial professional will recognize and respect that immediately. Someone who becomes frustrated by that boundary, someone who needs you to move, deserves closer examination. The broader principle is this. Legitimate entities do not need to evade the systems designed to hold them accountable. Banks maintain records, employers document recruitment, customer support departments operate through traceable channels. Licensed professionals work within regulated environments. Transparency protects both sides of a legitimate transaction. When someone insists on relocating an important conversation to a less accountable environment, that instance deserves scrutiny, regardless of how reasonable the explanation sounds. Because fraud investigations reveal the same pattern consistently. The scam was not hidden. The scam began the moment the conversation left the place designed to detect it. If someone has recently asked you to move a conversation to a private messaging app, pause before agreeing. A few minutes of verification costs nothing. Skipping that pause can cost significantly more. Recognizing this moment before the script progresses is how you exit before it becomes a story someone else is warning people about. If someone in your life spends time buying online, job hunting, or meeting people through apps, share this video with them. Awareness is most useful before the request arrives. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.